This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on June 10th, 2011 at approximately 8:42 in the morning Mountain Time, 10:42 Eastern Time. Our radio show runs 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, AM 640 in Toronto. If you ever miss a radio show, they are archived on Harold's website, HESradio.com, HESradio.com. And Harold, it was a pretty good week for precious metals. We're seeing a little profit-taking today as we head into the weekend. But I think the thing that really struck me is we put the newsletter together is all the problems in the world, not only financially, economically, but geopolitically. And now is a time where people have to be very, very cautious and safe with their money and have an allocation of precious metals, because there are so many things that are going on, whether it be bad jobs numbers out of the United States, the housing market double dipping, you have the debt problem, debt and deficit problem, the debt ceiling, obviously that hasn't been dealt with. There are a lot of problems. And then obviously sovereign debt. There are so many landmines out there right now. It's a time where people really need to be cautious.
Oh, you bet. You know, the thing is that it's really hard to believe, Randy, that this is actually going on. I mean, you know, you still go to restaurants and you go to the mall and things like that, and they're still busy somewhat. But, you know, the economy is changing so quickly. I'm a Canadian living in the United States, and I got to tell you that the economy is sinking here, and it's almost at a panic mode. You know, you've got the jobs numbers that you just mentioned. You know, so many people are out of work. Don't forget, during the boom times of the 90s and the early 2000s, you know, when Wall Street was doing extremely well, you know, those stockbrokers were making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 just as a junior stockbroker. They were making, you know, 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure incomes, you know, and now all that is gone. Just think about the mortgage industry and the real estate business. When the real estate business was booming, which really controls most of the United States, when you really think about it, the construction and the mortgage and the real estate salespeople and builders and everything like that, that economy is decimated. Nobody's making a living in that area anymore, and that was the highest paying areas aside from Wall Street. So you're really starting to see a panic situation start to appear, and it's very, very frightening. You know, you've got the job situation. The debt is astronomical. I mean, the U.S. is basically bankrupt, and they're at $14.3 trillion in debt, and they're begging Congress to increase that by another couple billion. And it's not that they've solved the problem. The fact is that all the problems that are happening now, it's like a domino effect. They happened and they started actually back in the 90s, when the greed and stupidity of the 90s is leading to the destruction of the world financial markets that we're seeing today. So, you know, I know a lot of us are almost in denial that this could actually happen. But when the country runs out of money, which it has, and this is 2 times in the last 3 months that this situation has appeared, you're talking that that's a devastating situation that will bring this country to its knees. And it's not only the United States that's in this situation. There's 14 countries in Europe that are on the verge of bankruptcy also. I mean, this is unprecedented. We read about it, we're dealing with it, we, you know, see it in the markets and everything like that. But the next situation that would happen as a result of this, which is extremely frightening, is panicking. Because the first thing that's going to happen, or the next thing that will really happen, is that a lot of these social services will get cut off, and the poor, who are the first ones that get hurt, they'll start to riot. So the fact is that the situation is not getting better. With QE1 and QE2, nothing really happened. With the bailouts and everything that's going on, really it's now becoming that domino effect that we always spoke about, because the situations were never taken care of. They were never corrected.
They were only pushed off to the side, and now they're all hitting again. So, you know, all in all, we had a good week in the market, except for today, which is Friday that we're taping the show. We got some profit taking. But basically, gold's trading at $15.50. So gold is looking fantastic. Silver is trading at $37, $38. We hit $38 actually on Thursday. So the market is actually doing extremely well. Platinum's trading at $1,800. Palladium's trading at over $800. Oil market's back up over $100. All the markets that we thought that were going to continue to run are doing
a tremendous job. Now, again, what's happening in the oil market is that OPEC basically kept production where it was, which was extremely bullish for the market, but then Saudi Arabia came out and said that they will make up what the differences are. But, you know, the feeling is that the oil market is in short supply, and there's no doubt in my mind that oil prices are going not only to $120, but eventually back up to $150 and possibly in the next couple of years, $200 oil. Add that to the fact that we've got extreme inflation. I know the government is saying that inflation is under control, but it isn't. There's no doubt that with the extremely high prices of food, grains, gasoline, and all those inflationary markets, it's affecting the everyday hard-working man and woman, and it's going to affect us even more going forward. So the fact is that we can't be in denial. We've been doing this radio show for 10 years, and everybody who listens to the show should have known that this is actually coming. Now, I've got to say that most of the listeners to our radio show are in the markets that we recommended. Most of our clients and listeners own gold and silver and diamonds, and for that, we're doing extremely well. And the next 5 years are going to be the best years that we've ever seen. You know, the fact is that if you've got the guts to go against mainstream and do what you feel in your heart is right for you and your family, and you turn out to be profitable in that situation, then congratulations to you. The majority of people are not doing that. The majority of people are still in stocks, which is the most dangerous area that you can ever have your money right now. With the world economy plummeting and everything that's looking like it's going to happen in the United States over the next year, the last place that I would want to be is in paper assets, because what's happening in the derivatives market, which are all paper assets, what's happening in stocks and bonds and treasuries and everything, they're a wreck. And the fact is that I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing that I've got my money sitting in those markets because they're way too volatile, extremely risky. And the fact is that if that is where your retirement money is, I would say at this point here that your chances of recovering if all of your money is sitting in stocks is slim to next to none. We saw the stock market in the U.S. go from 14,000 down to 6,500 in 2008, and that wiped out most people. The fact is that we're going to see another situation like that, and it's not that far away. So if you're sitting there with most of your money sitting in the stock market or in paper assets, I would very strongly suggest that you go on the sidelines. There's nothing wrong with keeping cash on the sidelines and reducing your risk at this point. If you believe in insurance on your home, on your car, on your life, on your everything, you've got to have insurance on your financial situation. I mean, that's what we do every day. We get up and we go to work and we feed our family and we try to do the right thing, and one day we hope to be able to make the right moves and retire one day. But the fact is that most people are not even looking at retirement right now because it's so far out of their realm of even reaching. The bottom line is right now is survival, and it's going to be survival of the smartest. And the fact is that if you're sitting in paper assets, you're going to be like 90% of the people, and you're going to end up losing your money. There's no doubt in my mind that with the state of the world economy, especially with what's happening in the United States, that the stock market is getting ready for another gigantic drop. The fact is that we are very bullish on hard assets. Gold and silver and diamonds are doing phenomenal. In actual fact, we're in the summertime now. I believe that we are going to see a rally during the summer when the markets are thin and normally gold and silver trade within a range. I believe that this year is going to be a different situation. It's very possible with what's happening in Europe at this point and also what's happening in the States that we could see a rally in gold and silver during the summer when the volume is extremely light. So basically we could see another rally in gold and silver. Gold could basically get back, it's almost at its lifetime highs now. I'm predicting that by the end of the year gold is going to be at $18.50 and silver is going to be at $50 to $65. So, the fact is that the markets are where they are right now for a reason, and the markets are starting to show concern over inflation, which is one of the major things that we should be concerned about at this point. The fact is that when we work, extremely hard and we show up every day and we do what we have to do, and you budget your money. Most families are on a budget. Let's say a family, of the husband and wife both working and making an income of $50,000 a year. After you pay your income tax and you pay your mortgage and the interest on your car loans and put food on the table and everything like that, you've got very, very little left over for savings. Now with food prices skyrocketing and the price of oil skyrocketing, that takes away most of people's savings and also reduces other things that they want to do. So, this is all happening right in front of our very eyes. Very few have been through this situation before. A lot of our listeners
have not gone through the Great Depression, obviously. And by the way, 50% of the United States citizens believe that we're heading back into a heavy recession or depression. That's how the feeling is in the United States at this point, and the U.S. is the biggest economy in the world. And the fact is that when you have countries going bankrupt, in fact, Ron Paul came out this week and said, that the U.S. is running out of money and they're going to be bankrupt. In fact, if you look at the Time magazine this week, they're saying what recovery? That's the headlines on top of the Time front page type of thing. So if you read the newsletter this week, you're going to be shocked at the reports in there. And if you think that there's a recovery coming, you should really look at what's in the newsletter this week, and that will set you straight. What you really need to do is understand what's happening, what the risks are, and what you need to do to survive in a financial market where decisions are basically being made for us. 90% of the money is made by 10% of the people. The listeners to our radio show are in that 10%. Most of our clients and most of our listeners have been buying gold and silver ever since they were at lower levels. Diamonds are skyrocketing in price. We've got a very exciting reports that are coming out on diamonds later in the show. But every market that we've recommended to you, because we felt that we were going to go through these extreme times, are doing tremendously well. So a lot of our listeners and clients are not feeling the pinch that most people are feeling if they're sitting in paper assets. So again, the strategy for success going forward in the next 5 years, if you're in the right markets, you're going to make a ton of money. And what we eventually believe is going to happen is that interest rates are going to go back up to 20%. The goal is to make enough money in the next 5 years in hard assets, in gold, silver, and diamonds, to be able to cement our future, to be able to put away enough money at 20 or 25% interest rates and to be able to live off of that money. In order to do that, you've got to be able to preserve your capital and make some money over the next 5 years. You're not going to do that in stocks, but you are going to do that in metals. And again, before this whole thing is over, I anticipate that the price of silver will be anywhere from $150 to $250 an ounce, and I believe gold will be at $5,000 or higher. That's how extreme the world markets are going to get. That's how the markets are going to react to inflation and high interest rates. And again, just wait and see what happens. Now, again, if we're looking at $150 to $250 silver, to be able to buy it below $40 is still a coup. We want to buy silver at this level. Silver is the market to own as far as the precious metals go. Gold will continue to be the barometer, and gold will continue to go higher, but obviously gold at $1,600 is a lot more expensive to buy than silver at $38. So again, I would be a very heavy buyer at this point of physical precious metals. Gold and silver, platinum and palladium, and diamonds will get you through these extremely difficult times and set you up for what's coming, which is 20 to 25% interest rates.
The telephone number to invest in precious metals, 1-866-623-2002. 1-866-623-2002. There's only one company that Harold recommends you deal with when it comes to precious metals, Worldwide Precious Metals. Their website, wwpmc.com. It's an easy website to navigate. Updated recently, beautifully done. They have testimonial letters there. All the information you want. If you'd like to get our free weekly newsletter, you can go there and sign up at wwpmc.com, or you can give them a call, and they'll be happy to get you on the list, give you more information about investing in precious metals. The telephone number, 1-866-623-2002, 1-866-623-2002, and they have programs for everyone. From obviously somebody for someone who is very conservative to somebody who obviously is more aggressive and want to own physical precious metals. Call them to get more information. John Stevenson, who wrote the book, Little Book of Commodity Investing, money manager here in Canada, was on the Canadian Business Channel, and this week said in the next year and a half, 2 years, he can quite easily see silver at $50 to $60, also gold at $1,800 to $2,000. Interesting nugget that I found this week. It is in the newsletter. Most South African mines, gold mines, are going to be closing in the next 14 years. Think about that. One of the stories that we've had over the last 10 years in our newsletter is actually from the Cosares family. Jonathan Cosares has written an update of it. Seasonal gold price trends favor summer purchases. And this is something we've had in our newsletter time and time again, and we've educated people about this. If you were to purchase precious metals, to make that investment in precious metals in June or